makes me happy that I haven't gotten stuff planted in the ground yet.
Well, we've got all these buckets in the backyard with things.
You just turn it
and
in.
so we were doing the daily shuffle there for a while, now they're just inside the garage.
We got to
Yeah.
No
chatting,
more shuffle.
the judge and.
We bought a
what's her
tiller
name?
this
Blonde
year
lady that-
because we have raised beds and
Caitlin.
we just have so much dirt.
I got
We
to
gotta turn it up, so we bought an electric tiller.
There you go. Better than the old kind.
Reminder to have it filed your
Almost felt
SCI.
sorry for somebody.
Did it,
that had to put a dog on until I heard
2
the
days
whole
ago,
story.
it was like popped into
Nice.
my mind, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta do it.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for that, I appreciate it, because
Sure.
I may not have.
Yeah, but
Okay, it says 7 o'clock to me.
Does indeed.
Okay, here
she
we
muttered
go.
under her breath she hadn't paid the vet bill for the other person.
Oh, it is this.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome to the Creswell City Council meeting, April 11, 2022. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to all of you for this city council meeting. Tonight we have 2 council members that are absent. Alonzo Castillo is absent with an excused absence, and Tammy Shuck has not notified me, so she has an unexcused absence at this point. Roberta, do we have any speakers for the public forum?
I do not.
Okay, then we move on to item number 2, which is the mayor's report. Tonight I'm reading a proclamation that has to do with Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation of the world, and trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And the city of Creswell has maintained its status as a Tree City USA for 12 years in recognition of its dedication to the preservation and value of its urban forest. Now, therefore, I, Dave Stram, Mayor of the City of Creswell, do hereby proclaim April 30, 2022 as Arbor Day in the City of Creswell, and I urge all citizens to celebrate and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this day of April 11, 2022, Mayor Dave Stram. So that's my proclamation of Arbor Day. Okay, and we welcome to the council chambers now Councilor Shuck.
Thank you.
So we move on to item 3, which is correspondence. There is no correspondence in our packet. We move on to item 4, which is the consent calendar. All items in the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by a single motion in the form listed. There is no separate discussion of these items unless a city council requests that an item be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. So councilors, is there anything in the consent calendar that you wish to remove for separate consideration? All right, seeing that there are no items, then I am entertaining a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented. I see a hand over here from Councilor Clark.
I move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
We have a second from Councilor Osborne. Any further discussion? If not, council will proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We move on to item number 5, which is the administrator report. Manager Amberg.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on the reports is the March 2022 bills. I'd be happy to take any questions on the bills at this time.
Counselors, any questions on bills? Okay, I have 4 items. Did you get my email earlier today?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so the 4 items that I just wanted some information on were the first page, Pro Sound and Video.
That's for the AV equipment that we have now in the city hall, in the city council chambers.
Okay, and then the second page was the Community Lending Works.
That is a community development block grant for small micro businesses in Lane County.
Okay, then on the third page there was the Chamber of Commerce.
That is the funding that we provide to them through the Rudin tax for them to carry on the tourism portion of our contract.
Okay, so is this is the annual amount once a year that we pass this on, it's kind of like pass through to them?
No, this is another amount. This is the transient occupancy tax, and sometimes that comes in more than once a year.
Okay, then the last item was St. Vincent de Paul.
And that's a community development block grant for housing rehab.
Oh, okay,
So that's something coming in?
These are things that we pay out.
Okay, yeah.
We received a grant, and then as St. Vincent de Paul does the rehab on these homes, we pay them to do the rehab. And they're homes in Lane County.
but this specifically has to do with homes in Crestwell.
No, this has to do with homes in Lane County. Crestwell homes are included if we have individuals who are eligible under the program. They can make an application and then their house will get rehabbed.
So this amount here is going out from us, would that go to people who live in Crestwell, and of course they're in Lane County?
No,
So this
not
would go-
necessarily. It goes to homes that are being rehabbed in Lane County.
And, but this grant money comes to the city and then we disperse it out to the
That's
county?
correct. That's correct. The way that the community development block grant works is that each year a city in Lane County is the host for those funds, and so we are hosting the funds this time around.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yes.
Thank you. I think some other counselors didn't know that either. Okay. Counselors, any other questions on bills? Okay, then we move to the next item.
The next item is the Lane County Sheriff's Calls for Service reports, and we have Sergeant Denham here to talk to you about that report.
Evening.
Evening.
Happy National Telecommunicators / Dispatcher Week. So you can give a big shout out to our dispatchers who keep us rolling. This is
Good.
the week that we get to celebrate them, so just thought I'd let you know that, so you can think of them since they keep us safe.
Thank
Any
you for-
questions? You have the stuff in front of you. It's a normal month.
Counselor Brochu.
Well, first of all, I do appreciate that you mentioned the dispatchers. Those are your 911 folks, right? So obviously that's a tough job for anybody. So I know folks that have had and done that job before, and it takes a real special person to be able to handle and coordinate those kinds of things. So definitely pass on our.
And if you can imagine on a normal, pretty much every normal given day, there's during the daytime and the swing shift hours, there's usually just 3 dispatchers in there, and then at night, many times there's only 2. So they're handling telephones, dispatching us, handling all of our traffic and everything we do, plus also handling Oak Ridge Police on a separate channel, plus Oak Ridge Fire, 911 Center, and LCC, and others. So they have a big job to do, and they do it well, so with what they have. kind of like the rest of our organization. We do a lot with very little.
So I was looking at the call report. It looks like possibly, I wasn't doing any comparisons there, but just the number of public order calls kind of jumped out at me. Maybe it was because none of them really turned into any cases at all. But anything special going on in Crestwell that
People are out, the sun came out.
Sun came out, okay.
People see people moving, suspicious subjects, there's more sunlight now, so people see more things in the light, more citizen contacts. So basically a lot of that was all of those things, all things that, you know, take a deputy response and take up time for us to go and talk to people or investigate things or just go deal with people that are looking weird or being weird or, you know, a lot of talking to people. So that usually, this is kind of around the time that kind of jumps up. That much was a little bit of I was like, wonder why that happened, but.
Well, this week will be the opposite, right? Everybody go back inside. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, they'll go steal things.
Right on. And my common every month question is as far as are any changes to our homeless or transient population that we ought to be aware of?
There is a slight change, kind of a story that resonates with how the transient population or the homeless population within the city is versus people who kind of watch out for them or see them or other things. We have one in particular that we talked about before that has a dog and is a staple in the town, moves his trailer around, became very ill and went to the hospital. We found out that while in the hospital he had a stroke. So at first off, he had the dog and the dog was inside of his trailer, and then the rest of the population were going over and making sure he had food and water and walking him and getting him out and stuff and having him use the bathroom, which really isn't very conducive because eventually we have to do something with that whole problem. One of our local proprietors took an interest in helping him out, got a hold of him, convinced him that maybe the best place for the dog was Green Hill, so we were able to facilitate the surrender of the dog to Green Hill. She had coordinated with Green Hill beforehand to take the dog and work on the rehome, and so that dog is on a very good dog, a little rambunctious, but just needs some training. Huh?
He's a cute dog.
Yeah, so he is on his way to being rehomed. We don't believe that the individual is going to be able to return to homeless life. He has some family in another state that he might be, that we're trying to hook him up with, but he also agreed to relinquish his trailer to another individual who's homeless within the community. And he's a more able-bodied individual. And so we kind of gave him 48 hours to remove the trailer from the street, and it's gone. So we facilitated a whole lot of stuff inside of about a week and a half. So, but that's the resilience of, you know, that's a different approach to how we deal with the people that are less than coming off the freeway and wandering the streets and then extricating themselves out of here. So, and we can see those people and we deal with them differently in the way that we approach them and the way that we talk to them. Usually our first thing is what are you looking for in Crestwell? And you know, when they say what they're looking for, it's just like, we don't have any of that. You got no free anything, you got no services, we have nothing for those individuals. So usually that helps them move on down either towards Eugene or towards Roseburg. So, but hopefully that answers your question. Other than that, not much change.
Yeah, and it's good to know that people are watching out for each other even within our homeless population.
Yeah, and we have had a little bit of some thieving and things like that going on that last night. Over the weekend and then last night, somebody decided that that a really great place to go do stuff would be in the new apartment complex that's being built over on Holbrook. And so busted in about 10 doors, went in, we're still figuring out what all they took as far as building materials and things like that, but they put cameras up over there and we're getting still photos of the person that it was, and we just happened to recognize the individual, so he's already in jail. all in about an 8-hour period. And of course, when he got arrested, he said that he told us that he had swallowed two ounces of fentanyl, or 2 grams of fentanyl. And so we got to spend, I think Deputy Lemieux spent about 5 hours at the hospital today while they watched him to make sure that he didn't actually do it. One of our requirements is that if they make a statement like that, we have to take them to the hospital. They have to be checked by the hospital, x-rayed and CT scanned to see if there's anything that's going to burst inside of them, and then we can lodge them at the jail. So it takes a very long process, and when it all gets said and done, if the jail doesn't like what the hospital said, you're back to the hospital. So that's just a part of the process as we go through, where one call can take an entire day. He started that at 7:30 this morning, and he's just finishing the report now. So
One deputy all day, that
One deputy
was
all
the
day.
thing. yeah.
Were they able to get the stuff back?
no, we think he had a partner, but he's not giving him up. We think we know who it is, but we can't find his truck. He got arrested early, like around 4 in the morning. This all occurred at about 4 in the morning. Again, they know when we're here and when we're not. So,
Okay. Any other questions for Sergeant Denham? So I just have one question. Next to vehicle, there's an asterisk. Does that mean something? I was looking all around to find it, but I didn't find it.
No, I think that's just been there for a long time and hasn't gotten removed,
Okay,
most likely.
so I just had never noticed
When
it.
Sergeant Halverson was here.
That was a long time ago.
He made these charts, so.
Okay, well, I promise to ask every month. What does the asterisk mean?
I'll remove it before I leave.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Manager Amberg.
Okay, the next report is the city attorney's report. As you can see, we used about 10 hours of attorney time over last month. The next report is the code enforcement report. You have pictures there of one of the ongoing issues that our code enforcement officer is trying to abate. And hopefully next time you'll see that that's been cleaned up. The next report is the building permit recap. March was a very busy month for building permits. We had 19 issued. And then the final report is the goal update for the first quarter of the year. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have on that.
Any questions from counselors? Thank you, it looks very good. Oh, Counselor Clark.
I say, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to just commend you for the work that you've already completed on your goals already for this year, because this is really impressive, and I think you're doing fantastic work. So my commendation.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay. All right, so we move on to item 6, which tonight we have no council action items. We go to item 7. And so just a reminder that we have a virtual strategic planning meeting tomorrow at 11:30, and that's online, and then Wednesday night and Thursday night. And so the Thursday one is hybrid. What does that mean?
There will be, well, depending on the weather, they hope to hold an in-person community meeting, visioning meeting here. And then others can also participate virtually if they would like. So it's going to be a hybrid. You can do it virtually or in person.
So depending on the weather, does that mean whether Michelle can get it from Bend?
Right. It may wind up being a virtual meeting if she can't get over the mountain from Bend.
Okay. And so counselors were all encouraged to participate in one of these, correct?
Yes. Well, we would like you to feel comfortable participating if you would like to do so. But we are trying to set up a meeting with all of the counselors on May 14th, I think, to meet for a full day to work on the strategic plan.
May 14th,
It's a Saturday.
Saturday. Well, that's also the day of the citywide cleanup, isn't it?
Oh, it could be.
Yes, it is.
We'll have to change that. Citywide cleanup. Just kidding.
That was the only Saturday in May that Michelle and Sonia are available. Sandra, excuse me.
Okay, so we need to all look at our calendars and get back to Michelle ASAP on whether that works for us.
If you could, that would be great. Then we can get it scheduled and we can start working on materials for that meeting.
Tell me
Okay.
again what that meeting is.
It is for the strategic plan.
That's what I thought.
May 14th, and that would be City Hall.
Yes, it would be meeting here in City Hall. And we'll provide a lunch for you. It would probably be from 8 in the morning till 5 at night.
Okay.
It's a all day.
Okay. Other than that, we have regular meetings planned, and so we come to number 8, adjournment. So we are adjourned.
I think my head's swimming.